All right, welcome back to the third episode of Couch Coaches. What do we got going on today?
Today we're going to be going over who we think will be the champions by the end of 2026, the new year we've just come into. It's just the two of us today. Connor's busy in his chair. But yeah, we thought we'd just go over who we think are going to be the champions by the end of the year in each division. We're just going to do male champs because that's really all anyone cares about. But yeah.
It's fun to do as well because there's so much that can happen within a year. Like we obviously know the first month's pay-per-views or first couple of months. We know some of the big title fights, but it may not be as good as other years when I've done this with we've done this in person before, kind of guessed. But it may, there's a lot of champions that aren't active, but it's also fun because we've got champions that are injured with eye pokes. We've got champions that are going through court battles. So it'll be fun to see. And we've got a whole year to know whether or not we're right. So we can get pretty creative and pretty crazy with it. But yeah, we might have a look at some fights at the end of it too. Nothing too crazy, but maybe just the main events coming up.
Yep.
In this 6-week drought that we've had, so it's been kind of rough.
It has been rough. We all had to watch Jake Paul box, we had to watch Jake
Paul box. True. Let me bring up Tapology anyway, so that we can kind of get an idea, because you might want to see the rankings. I don't think these are the official UFC rankings. Can you see that well?
I know it anyway, who I think is least.
Can you see that well, though? Like, can you see the names?
Yeah.
All right, because I'm not sure if we even need this up, to be honest, but we'll have it up for now. But I guess it makes sense to start at flyweight, right? The smallest weight.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want to go first, or you want me to?
I honestly don't mind, man. Yeah, either or.
You can go first. What I've kind of in my head, from what I've got from this, I think we're going to have a lot of different answers. So we'll see.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
All right, you go first for flyweight.
Well, obviously with Pantoja's injury, I think he won't be back till maybe mid-year, so they probably want to play it safe. So I think we're going to see Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira, and I think Tatsuro Taira will win that fight. But I think Pantoja will come back and beat Tatsuro Taira, and then the end of the year, it might just make it in if there's not much damage between Tatsuro Taira and Pantoja, which we've seen Pantoja be quite dominant in his title fights. They might have a fight between Manelkat, and I'm also going to pick Pantoja to retain. So I think Pantoja will be the champion by the end of this year.
I like the sound of that. It sounds like order sort of coming back to the division. I feel like Pantoja kind of got not cheated, but it was an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
But I just think with that injury, with the 6 months or however long he has to take, I think when he does come back, he'll get an immediate rematch, but it may not be the same Pantoja. So I agree that I think they'll do Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira. They may do Joshua Van versus Manelkat, and I'm not sure who I would take in that, but I think by process of elimination, I think Taira beats both Joshua Van and Manelkat, so I don't care what match gets made. So I'm going Tatsuro Taira because I also think he's going to be able to beat Pantoja. I think he's massive for the division, and I'm just using the Brandon Moreno measuring stick. You know what I mean? We saw how close the Pantoja fight with him was compared to Tatsuro Taira was just able to get in there and dominate him. So I've got a lot of stock in Tatsuro Taira. He's young. I think he's going to be the champion by the end of 2026.
Do you think he's improved a lot since his Brandon Royval fight? I know that was a decision or split decision or whatever it was, but
I think he has, because I think Brandon Royval has similarities to Brandon Moreno. You know what I mean? I think they're both great with jiu-jitsu. They have high volume but not much power. And even that first round, it's like Brandon Moreno didn't get hurt, but he was they were just stuck in like a stalemate position. Now Tatsuro Taira is going to be in 5-round fights, which may not benefit him if it gets to the third and the fourth and the fifth, but he's able to finish people like that. His back takes are better than anyone else. And I feel like this is kind of a safer pick because there's a chance we don't see Pantoja back. Like, I don't know how, and it's like anything can happen since then. They might say, oh, well, the title fight's already held up with, it would be, I was just going to say that maybe they would do him versus someone else, but it would be crazy for him to not come back and get his instant rematch.
Yeah.
But maybe he comes back when they've already got a title fight scheduled. And he has to sit on the sidelines even longer. We know he's getting up there in age. I just think I would like for Pantoja to come back and win. I would, but I'm going to take Tetsuro Taira on this one.
Okay.
Bantamweight. So let's just quickly looking at it. We obviously have Petr Yan, the champ. Merab is number 1 contender. Sean O'Malley, who's booked up with Song Yadong on, is it 324 or 325?
Yeah, I can't remember one, but you are right. Yeah.
324. Umar Nurmagomedov, who's always going to be a contender. It's going to be annoying to keep that
He's fighting Davidson Figueiredo.
Which he probably will win. Then you have Sandhagen, who already fought for the belt, and he'll be looking to bounce back against someone. I'm going to keep it with Petr Yan. I think they'll do the trilogy of him versus Merab, and I think he wins that. You know, I don't know what's next for him, but I have a feeling they're not going to want to rush Umar to that belt again. You know, they're kind of keeping him on ice. If he beats Figueiredo, he's got a chance to be like, hey, look, I just beat 3 guys in a row, or I just beat Mario Batista, and I just beat him. Like, it's now my turn to have another shot. I had a close fight with Merab. But I could almost see them, if Petr Yan beats Merab again, I could see them doing the Umar-Merab rematch.
Yeah.
And doing, if Sean O'Malley beats Song Yadong, doing the Sean O'Malley-Petr Yan rematch. Because it was kind of a robbery there. 2 big names. It's a win-win for the UFC. Does Sean O'Malley get the belt? Does Petr Yan keep it? They're both superstars that are fun to watch. So I think Petr Yan's really fucking good, man. I think he's still going to be champ at the end of the year.
If he fights like he did against Merab, against Sean O'Malley, I think he'll beat Sean O'Malley.
Oh, he will beat Sean O'Malley, yeah. The question for me is, can Merab make any improvements? You know, was that the best version of Merab, or was that Merab having to cut weight 4 times in a year?
Like with Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev.
Sorry?
You know, like Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira, like too many cuts throughout the year and just not being able to heal from injuries, from fights and stuff.
And even overlooking him, you know, having a bit of an ego, dominating everybody else so easily, and starting to kind of level up on the feet as well. And Petr Yan's just a different guy, man. You can tell he's so technically clean, and you can tell he wants to hurt you. You know, Corey Sandhagen wants to beat you. Petr Yan wants to fucking hurt you. And I think that there's something to that.
And he aura farms too, running through the streets. Have you seen that? Running through the street. He runs does his daily runs through the streets in Russia, and he runs past random people and goes jump scares them, and they're shit themselves, and they start screaming. He just keeps running. He's not afraid of anything. I know most people in UFC aren't going to be scared of things like that, but he's there for the love of it. He loves.
God had to nerf him and make him 5'5" because
and thank fuck. Light man skill. If he was a little bit taller, everyone else would be on fucking watch.
100%. So who are you taking for bantamweight?
I took Petr Yan as well.
You're taking Yan too? Yeah. I think that's the smart decision. How old is Yan?
34 or 35, I think.
Right. So not, getting up there, but still in his prime.
Yeah.
I think it'll be someone that has to catch him, man. And maybe it is Sean O'Malley. You know, he did have some moments, but I also think in that fight, Petr Yan was overlooking Sean. And he did win that fight. So I think in 5 rounds, I think he breaks him. I think Petr Yan breaks Sean O'Malley in a 5-rounder.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe Umar does get the shot. But even if Umar gets the shot, it's how different would his game plan be than Merab in the first and second fight? And we now know that game plan doesn't work against Yan because he'll just stuff the takedowns and find a way to hurt you on the feet.
Yep.
So I guess we move on up to featherweight, and I'll let you take this one.
I've got a bit of a crazy call for this. I don't know if anyone's really said it, but I think Volk's retaining against Diego Lopez, and I think it's his retirement fight. And so I think he's going to leave the champion, and they're going to make Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy, who they're keeping out of fights and not giving fights, and they don't know why. But I think it's because they think that Alexander Volkanovski is going to beat Diego again, and he's going to retire the championship, and then the next championship fight between Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. And a lot of people aren't going to like this. I think Lerone Murphy is going to beat Movsar Evloev.
Wow.
And I think he's going to finish the year as a champion.
Lerone Murphy.
Yeah.
That's great. Undefeated. So can't hate on it. That's crazy. I'm not sure about this whole Volk retirement thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether he is having a couple more or not. But I think with someone like Volk, anytime he's the champion, he tries to fight every couple of months. which is awesome for us. It's awesome for Volk fans, but it's going to ultimately, at his age, it's going to be very hard to defend for an entire year against these killers. It's not like you're not fighting Max Holloway 3 times because there's no one else. There is contenders now. So I think the reason I'm taking this is a bit of a strategic pick. I'm saying Mozart is the champ. And the reason is I think if Volk gets past Diego Lopez, they'll give him Lerone Murphy or Evloev. I think Volk versus Lerone, I think that's a great fight for Volk because Lerone's kind of tries to be super technical and keep it on the feet, sometimes mixes it up. That's exactly what Volk is. And I haven't seen something from Lerone that can do that better than Volk does that.
Yeah.
So I think Volk would get past that. But then I think Evloev, it's a little different. It's a bit more of a challenge. Do I think Volk can beat Evloev? I do. But I'm banking on the fact I don't think Volk can beat Lopez, Evloev, and Murphy. So I'm going to take Evloev for that. But maybe Volk just cleans house like he used to do. But on the option that he does retire, like you, I could see Evloev getting the shot. And also on the option that Diego Lopez KOs him in this next fight. I don't see Volk coming back for a trilogy because people aren't going to want Diego Lopez versus Volk 3 times in a row with nothing in between that. So they would say, Volk, sit out for 6 months and come back at the end of the year for one last shot or come back next year or go to lightweight, I think they would say to him. And if Lopez gets that belt, who's the guy that's beat him in the UFC other than Volk? Who's the one guy? It was Evloev on his debut. They've been wanting to book that match for a long time. I don't think they'd give it to Yair, so I could see them doing Diego Lopez versus Evloev, the rematch. And I think if Diego Lopez KOs Volk, unless he shows a whole level up amount of skill, I think he was still getting tagged by Gene Silva. He did lose that fight to Evloev other than a couple moments where he had some close submissions. So I could see Evloev getting the rematch and finding a way to beat Diego Lopez. But it's fun, right? Because it could be Volk. It could be Diego just goes on a clean sweep. Could be Lerone. Could be Evloev. Could be Gene Silva beats Arnold Allen and gets to fight someone. So featherweight's fun, and it's a kind of tough one. But I think it's somewhat of a safe option to take Evloev. So that's why I'm doing it.
I'm just hoping that Evloev is just a worse Islam.
Yeah, true. And it's his stand-up, man. He had some really close fights with Arnold Allen and Aljamain Sterling. He really did. And he's kind of been put on ice a wee bit, huh? Like he's not super active at the moment. But yeah, I wish I could take Volk here. I just think it's too dangerous to take Volk when there's so many contenders.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts for that. Lightweight, I'm not going to go Ilya. I'm trying to really think what I think is going to happen in my mind, right? I think even if Ilya comes back, I don't know what Ilya is doing. He's kind of at this weird superstar level where I could see him, vacating the belt and coming back at welterweight to try and fight Islam. That's the kind of mentality he has, right? I don't think he should, but I could see him doing it. But I think even if he stays, I think there's a guy that no one likes him, but we have to admit he's fucking good. Obviously, Gaethje versus Paddy for the interim, so one of them is going to be the interim and get a shot at the undisputed. I don't think either of them beat Ilya, so I would take Ilya over both of them. But there is a guy in that division that I do think in 2026 is finally going to get a shot at the title, and I think he's going to win it. I think Arman Tsarukyan is going to end 2026 as the lightweight champion.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to, because obviously this court case has got quite big now. I think Elliot Topuria is not going to be around for a while. I think he's going to be made to vacate. I think Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, we might be hearing soon that it's going to become not an interim fight. It's going to be the proper championship fight. And I have a weird feeling that Justin Gaethje wins. I know that's strange.
Do you want to elaborate on that? Because you heard something from like Nina Drama or something that people aren't talking about.
Nina Drama accidentally posted it that it was going to be for the undisputed. And I think like she's done that on accident after being given like secret information that she wasn't supposed to release. Because she's also got something up on light heavyweight that we'll talk about later on that she also posted. She's taken both those tweets down now. Unless they were edited ones I saw, but I'm pretty sure they were actually real from her. So yeah, she might have accidentally leaked that the court case is going to turn this into a proper thing. Obviously, Ilya's going to get an immediate rematch if he comes back, but it's just they have to separate themselves when this sort of stuff happens. It's not like he's John Jones, where him and Dana are fucking pocket-holding buddies yet. So I think I have a weird feeling that Justin Gaethje wins just off experience. I know we've seen Paddy take out a lot of these old guard boys and stuff like that. But I'm just hoping that Justin Gaethje still has it in him. If that happens, I think Armin beats him, and I'm really stuck. I don't actually know between Armin and Ilya. I know Ilya is. I mean, Armin does have like a key to take like that sort of taking people down and that, but Ilya is a wrestler and stuff like that before he was a boxer. I really want to say, yeah, I want to say that when I watched Armin vs Charles, I thought it was a lot closer than Armin thought it was. And I know MMA math doesn't work like that, but we saw what Ilia Topuria did to Charles Oliveira. I think he's smart enough to know not to engage in like ground and grappling and stuff like that. It just depends if Armin can get him there. I think Ilia will knock him out if they keep it standing. I know this is such like a cop-out take, but I think unless Armin can get him to the ground, I think Ilia will retain, and I think Ilia could be the champion by the end of the year again. But I'd also like to talk about the BMF title while we're in this division. So Max versus Charles. Personally, I think Max is going to win, but this is like a massive long shot from me. If Charles does win, and I know a lot of people like want to see him versus certain things, if Charles wins and we see Alexander Volkanovski lose at featherweight, I wouldn't even hate seeing Alex come up to lightweight for a BMF retirement match against Charles, because now the BMF seems to be like champions, and like they've made the belt worth something.
Favorites,
fan favorites. It's like your John Cena comes back, for a championship match, sort of thing like that. I would love to see the end of the year Charles versus Alexander Volkanovski if Alex loses this title at featherweight and Charles wins the thing. I think that'd be a real cool end of the year, the co-main to another title fight. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion.
That's a good point you raise there. There is someone we are forgetting. I mean, we're both taking him. If Max Holloway beats Charles Oliveira, he's got a wins at lightweight over Charles Oliveira twice. Justin, who he KO'd. So if Justin has the belt, and even if Paddy has the belt, I think Max Holloway beats Paddy Pimblett. So it's like Max. We haven't really ever seen Max versus like a dominant wrestler. You know what I mean? Like we haven't seen him versus the Islam, so it's hard to know how him versus an Armin would go. But if Ilya is truly out for a long time, or doesn't come back, or vacates, we very well could be in the middle of June, July with Armin Sarukian versus Max Holloway, or late November. So there's a chance Max Holloway finishes the year with the champ. It's a bit of a long shot, but a guy like, and even if Charles Oliveira beats Max Holloway, like you were just saying, we saw how close Charles versus Armin was. Charles looked. I had Gamrot to win. Charles looked fucking great in that performance. He subbed Gamrot. Really good. So it's like there's a chance he just subs Max Holloway, goes on and beats Armin in their rematch that was super close, because he obviously has better stand-up. There's a real big chance Charles ends the fucking year as the champ. So there's lightweight's a fun one too, but I think Armin ultimately. And maybe I'll get punished for playing it safe, but I think Armin is the safe pick here.
Yeah. All right.
So you're saying Ilya, though, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ilya.
Which is also a safe pick. How good is that guy?
He's fucking good.
So they're obviously the two best in the division.
Yeah. I'd also love to see his brother fight more.
Yeah. Well, you've seen all the shit going on with him and Bryce Mitchell, right?
Yeah, dude. Oh, dude, I love Bryce to death, man, but Bryce will get killed by him, I think.
And
I really do.
Weird for Bryce to kind of jump the gun and just instantly have his opinion on the whole Ilya wife thing. He's instantly taking the wife's side. It's like he, and I'm going to be covering that in the Mike Perry video that I'm doing, but it's almost like he, and even Mike Perry said this. It's almost like he's like, trying to like give himself something to like hate this guy for, because he's mad that he got beat by him, or build it into a rematch, or you know what I mean? Like it does seem like a situation like that, but he called out Ilya's younger brother because Bryce has now gone down to bantamweight, so we'll see what happens. But I think you're right. I think Topuria is on the rise. Who did he just beat? That was a very good fight. The guy that debuted against Umar, his name escapes me, but he's a very, very good bantamweight. So I think Alexander Poirier is looking very good himself. But let's not get caught up on the prospects. We're here looking at champs. Let's go welterweight next, and I'll start with you.
So, God, I really want to say I don't see anyone beating Islam for a while. I assume, well, I actually don't know who they're going to do next for him.
Yeah.
But it's so weird because I know this is like a kind of out of left field. I think Ian Gary can beat Islam Makhachev. And
it's an open space here.
Yeah,
I mean, crazy.
Yeah, cut chair to cut chair. I feel like he might fucking just get it done. Yeah, he's. I don't know why I can see it, but I think if he does beat him, I think Islam would retire. But if Islam beats him, I think they're going to bring back Shavkat. I know he's supposed to fight another person, but I feel like they're going to match up. So they've got so many matches they can make it welterweight at the moment that. Well, Islam's only going to fight maybe twice this year max. Let's be honest. Like it's very common with the Muslim sort of those sort of dudes. You know, they always seem to have fucking something on. You know, fucking that sort of stuff. But
what happened? Did you freeze? You think he might have froze? We'll see if we can. We'll see if he comes back, but I guess I'll do my welterweight while he's gone. I think welterweight's really fun right now, but I could see them matching this up. I'm hearing there's rumors of Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. You obviously have Michael Morales, who's looking really good. You have Ian Gary, who's on a win streak, but I don't think the decision over Bilal was enough to get him that title shot. See if he's back. You back?
Sorry for that. Yeah, I got kicked.
Your Wi-Fi's
I think Shavkat's going to come back, and I think they're going to give him a title shot because I don't think anyone else though with those sort of skills can beat in Islam. Like there's a Michael Morales, I could see him landing a shot. A Carlos Prates could land a shot, but they're layups for Islam. Those sort of people that are like predominantly strikers and stuff like that. But we are forgetting one thing about Michael Morales is. We've all seen what he does at New Year's. He's not afraid to grapple and get weird with the boys. Bit of lipstick, 100%. You know?
And even jokes aside, that how he kind of talks his hips backwards and holds that position. You saw it against Sean Brady. And let's be honest, Sean Brady and Islam are kind of a similar build. You know, there is an opportunity he does that, but I think you're right. I think Islam's striking good enough to set up the takedowns. So who was your official pick?
I'm going to say... Ian Gary's the champion by the end of the year. Fuck, I can't believe I've done that.
That's crazy. I think he eventually will be a champion. I'm
going up.
I'm going up. You're going down. Very quickly, I just want to sort of match make it. I'm hearing JDM versus Prates is getting made. And I think Prates is kind of someone that we're all going to tune in for no matter who he's fighting now. He doesn't really need the belt, so I think they won't rush him into that. I could almost see them doing Michael Morales versus Ian Gary, unless Ian Gary says no, I'm not. I'm doing nothing but fighting for the belt. So maybe Ian Gary will fight for the belt, and they'll do Michael Morales versus Bilal. I'm going to go or Shavkat, but I don't know what Shavkat's doing. You know, he's over there dropping racist comments, which I always love. But I can also see them doing, because Ali is both Islam's manager and Usman's. There's been a lot of talk of, let's give Usman the title shot because he beat Buckley. So I'm going to take Islam to be champ at the welterweight. I think he beats Kamaru Usman pretty convincingly. And like you said, he only ever fights once or twice a year. So I could see him not fighting till June, fighting Usman, and then taking the rest of the year off and coming back January 2027. And meanwhile, Ian Gary has to fight Michael Morales and all these killers. And when you match all these killers up constantly, it's very hard to get one guy that emerges. Because if Prates beats someone, it's like, well, we can't have Prates over Gary. They already fought and Gary beat him. If JDM comes back and beats someone, well, now he's only beaten them once and he's only on a one-fight win streak and he's already lost to Islam. If Bilal gets a win, you already were a champion. You just lost 2 fights before that. If Michael Morales beats someone, it's kind of like, well, maybe we can give it to him. But, it becomes an issue like that. You have to be flawless. And it's like we have a lot of contenders, but we haven't got the one contender who's sort of risen. So I could see them trying and very sneakily being like, let's just give Usman one last big payday, one last big shot. He did so much for us during the COVID era. And I could really see them giving him this title shot. And I think Islam clears Usman pretty easily. I think the wrestling would probably either cancel out and Islam would beat him on the feet. But even in the wrestling department, I think Islam has more to offer. Kamaru Usman doesn't he doesn't really have submissions. We saw Leon Edwards have success getting his back and getting a back take on him. So clearly Islam's going to be capable to do that. So I'm going to take Islam to still be the champion at the end of 2026.
Oh.
So let's move up to middleweight. And I'll go first on this. I'll just keep it quick. Once again, Hamzat's probably only going to fight once. And who's going to beat Hamzat? We thought Dricus would have a shot, and he didn't. I don't think there's much you can improve on there. Because Hamzat doesn't have to make it entertaining. He can just hold you down for another 5 rounds if he wants. I think he's fighting Imavov. I think Imavov looks great on the feet. KO'd Israel Adesanya looked great on the feet against Beralho. But in a 5-rounder, I don't think he can compete with Chimaev. Chimaev gets him down and does whatever he wants. Outside of that, you have Brendan Allen, not happening. You have Anthony Hernandez, who has to fight Strickland. His whole game plan is cardio and pace and pressure wrestling. That's not going to work against Hamzat. Sean Strickland is an option, but I think he would just get taken down and beaten up as well.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, guys.
Exactly. And who else is there? I'm forgetting. Oh, we had Rainer Ritter, who we all kind of thought this is going to be the guy to do it. This is going to be the guy to beat Dricus or beat Hamzat. And he kind of got exposed by Brendan Allen. So I think Hamzat's probably going to fight once this year. I think he's probably going to dominate Imavov. And I think he's still going to be champion. And I think he's just going to be sitting there with the belt talking about how he could go up to light heavyweight or how he could go up and fight Pereira. He's just going to be playing the game and being the superstar that he is.
That's the reason that I'm almost not picking him to be champion at the end of the year, is if he wins, I think he might go up.
Okay. And
then I think they might do Dricus versus the winner of Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez at the end of the year for the champion.
Can they do Dricus versus Sean again, though, you think?
I don't want them to, but I think Anthony Hernandez, if Anthony Hernandez beats Sean Strickland, I think that's what we'll see at the end of the year, and I think Dricus will win that.
Could you see DDP versus Brendan Allen? Because what
they do, they have history, don't they? They have history, don't they? They hate each other.
I think they had a bit of shit online, but or do they do? Because it depends how long Dricus wants to wait out. If Imavov gets ran through, do they do Dricus Imavov? Do they do Dricus Brendan Allen while we're waiting? There is options, but
they might do Dricus Brendan and Anthony versus Sean, and the winner of that is the fight each other. If Hamzat retains, then moves up.
Yeah,
but
I don't think Hamzat should be able to move up. Like welterweight was the division you did all of your work in. Middleweight, you've got good wins. I'll give it. You got Robert Whittaker. You got Usman, who's technically a welterweight. You beat him at middleweight, and then you have
Dricus.
So it's like those are really good wins. But is 3 wins or 4 wins if you beat Imavov, is that enough to move up when there's only been 1 title defense? I don't think so. I think the guy should be forced to stay there. But because he's such a big name, and we'll get to it soon, and we don't know what's happening with light heavyweight, but I see what you mean. There is a world where Pereira beats the next guy at light heavyweight, and there's nothing for him, and they can't put him up to heavyweight because heavyweight's got the logjam of Aspinall and Garn, and they need Hamzat versus Pereira. It's like I hate how these kind of gimmicky division fights happen these days, but they do happen. So there's a possibility that is what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Hamzat to still be champ.
Yeah, and I've got Dricus. All right. Light heavyweight. Now, what's supposed to happen, this is what I was talking about earlier about the other Nina drama, fucking accidental slip, was she posted a thing talking about Carlos Ulberg versus Yuri Prohaska. And everyone was like, what the fuck is she on about? And then all these rumors about Tom Aspinall maybe not coming back in time to defend his belt and there potentially being an interim heavyweight, which might mean that Alex Pereira vacates his title and we see Carlos Ulberg versus Yuri Prohaska. Now, I know I'm from New Zealand. I'm supposed to support Carlos Ulberg. Yuri Prohaska is my favorite by miles in the whole entire UFC. And everyone told me he was going to lose to Khalil Roundtree. I got told he was going to lose against Jamal Hill. It's nothing against you. On paper, he should lose against these technical guys that are good. But he has the spirit of a samurai or some weird shit. He's got a stand if you've seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I love him because he's so autistic and violent. I think Yuri's going to finish the year as champion. But I will say this. I think that the champion in 2027 is going to be Khamzat Chimaev coming up. I think after Yuri wins,
hang on, just to clarify, are you saying is Khamzat your answer, or you're going into 2027 with?
I'm going 2027. I'm doing foresight. Okay. That's so Raven. I'm telling you, I think Yuri. The only person I could see Yuri fighting against potentially, if this is true, is maybe a Magomed Ankalaev could take him out. But yeah, if not that, I think Alex Pereira will be champion by the end of the year still.
So you're taking Yuri Prohaska?
Yeah.
So what about if? Okay,
if that stuff's not true, Alex Pereira.
You're taking it on the case that Pereira does move up. Yeah. I am, regardless of what happens, and maybe this is my Kiwi pride, and maybe this is blindness, which happens to me all the time, I'm taking Carlos. I think he looked fucking phenomenal against Reyes. I think as much as people have done that to Reyes before, you know when it's a fluke and when someone just lands on your chin and it's kind of like oh my God, the guy's chinless. He set that up perfectly, cut the angle, bang. Reyes had absolutely nothing for him. It wasn't even close. So I think Ulberg, I keep putting an R in it. It's like our accent. I think Carlos will win. I think Carlos, I hope it's not against Yuri because like you say, Carlos should beat Yuri. And I think, honestly, this is a hot take. I think Yuri does better against Carlos than Pereira does. I think Carlos thrives against technical strikers because he can kind of match them, match their pace.
He's a B-grade Izzy. But
he's a kickboxer. Exactly, yeah. He knows his fundamentals very well. So when you throw him against someone like Yuri, it'd be too wild for him. But I also think he could catch Yuri. But yeah, I'm gonna take it on the account that I think we go. I think it's Carlos versus Alex next. I think there's, they say, there's no one for Pereira to fight. Yes, there is. That's a story. Carlos may not be a massive name, but you can't do Yuri 3 times. The Magomed rematch, no one really gives a fuck about because he starched him in the first round. I think you do Carlos versus Alex, and you build it as if the next Israel Adesanya. This guy trains with Izzy. He's going to know all the tips and tricks. The battle of the left hooks. They both KO'd everybody with left hooks. You can build that into a main event. Plus, it's Alex. He can fight anyone we're going to tune in. I think that's the fight you do. I think you do Yuri versus Ankalaev, right? They've got the beef of he shot for takedown. He said he would not. He's mad at him because he has no samurai spirit. That's a fun fucking fight, dude.
Yeah.
And it makes Yuri undeniable too, because if Pereira does get past Carlos and Yuri gets past Ankalaev, you have to do the trilogy because we all love Yuri. I think Carlos beats Alex. And then I think Carlos would either go on to fight the winner of Yuri versus Magomed, or he just doesn't. He only has one fight this year. He already fought very recently, maybe a couple of months ago. I could see it a world where we don't get him versus Alex till halfway through the year. They save it for a big Paramount card. It could be a bit of a war, could be a bit of a. I don't think it would be a massive war, but I think both guys would get hurt on occasion. I think it would be an early second round KO for probably Carlos. I just think Alex is getting a little bit up there in age, and maybe this is what sends Pereira to heavyweight. But Pereira very well could just chew his leg up and fucking KO him. But I think Carlos's movement works very well against Alex. Carlos is also happy with having a boring fight. He's not going to come rushing into the pocket because the fans are booing. He'll sit on the outside and make you come to him. And I think Alex is someone that's like, okay, you want me to come to you? I'll come forward then. And I actually think that's going to work in Carlos's favor. Yeah. So I could see Carlos winning that. And I'm going to go Carlos for the end of 2026. And I do think even if we get Carlos versus Yuri, I'd be concerned. But I do think Carlos can chew that leg up and kind of do what Khalil was doing for the first couple rounds without gassing.
Yeah. The only problem I have with Carlos Ulberg is he always circles out the same way. And people like Yuri, Yuri won't read that. Fucking, let's be honest.
Alex.
Alex Pereira, he doesn't have to read it. He wrote that, and he will fucking literally, he'll punish you for making any mistake.
100%.
He's very. So that's the only thing I can see. It's just going to come down to really who lands the big shot first and can capitalize on it almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, regardless, also another good division to watch at the moment.
Yeah.
It feels like everything that doesn't oh god, I'm gonna get fucking cancer for it. Any division that doesn't seem to have like a Muslim champion that fights more than fucking once a fucking year seems to be an entertaining division. And that's why I don't want Evloev to win.
Right.
I don't want a carpet bomber decision merchant fucking holding up a division again.
It's not even like how they fight for me, right? Everyone gets so mad about the dominant grappling. It's the fact they don't fight. I also found some of Israel Adesanya's performances boring. I also found some of Usman's performances boring. I also found some of Volk performances to be like, man, when are you going to get a finish? You kind of just dance around and out-clinic these guys. At least all three of those guys during their kind of COVID era fought 3 or 4 times a year.
You should have to at least defend twice a year. I think that should be a rule they make for Paramount. Like
against whoever the next guy was. Now we get these kind of gimmicky champions.
Yeah, it's turning into boxing.
Islam's fun to watch, and normally Hamza is fun to watch, but they'll also just... It's because they're like so grappling heavy. It just becomes a grappling match where they're not even looking to ground and pound or look for submissions, because that gives you an opportunity to escape. It's like you shouldn't be looking for a stalemate or you shouldn't be looking to win off position. You should be looking to get to a winning position, and then what can you do from that position to win? That's how I kind of see it. I think it's, but that's a topic for a different time. Like where the sport's going. Because for as much as I think people like that are starting to take over, I think the young guys coming up, the prospects are phenomenal everywhere. So I think we're also going to see you can't just be a one-dimensional fighter anymore. Even what Jan did to Marab, a lot of guys are going to be watching that and going, oh shit, like I could do that. I'm a good defensive wrestler. I can do that. So I think we are going to see a bit of a shift in the sport, but we're just kind of stuck in this. We had that golden era of McGregor. We had the COVID era, which was kind of a bit of a downfall, but then there was these superstars that kind of put it on their back, like the champion that you mentioned. And old mate's dropping his phone over here. You know what I mean? So there was we're just kind of stuck in a bit of an era, and it's like we finally get someone like Ilya, and all of a sudden there's these massive court cases and shit goes wrong, and he doesn't. We finally get someone like Tom Aspinall, and then he gets double eye poked, or John Jones won't fight him for 2 years. So it's kind of rough, but I think we still have the talent there in the UFC. So I think we've been in a bit of a valley, a bit of a slip. I think we're on the come up.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our last division, heavyweight. And I'm torn between two people here, and it's not the two people most guys are gonna think. And it's a bit of a dumb decision. I don't know. I think the safe pick's probably Aspinall. I'm going to say Alexander Volkov, which is
crazy
to say. But I think from the 5 minutes that I saw against Gane versus Aspinall, regardless of the eye poke, I think when Gane shows up. And I think he's one of the best in the world. And I think he underlooks a lot of these guys. I think he got away. He had such an advantage on the feet for so long with footwork and heavyweight that he started to get to the point where he wasn't committing as much to these fights as he should. But then he went, fuck it, I will. And we saw what happens when he's on his best game and he's on his best day against Tom Aspinall. I think if he can do that again, Tom Aspinall coming back from the eye surgery, that's definitely the rematch they're going to want. I don't know if Aspinall can improve that much. Coming off of a knee injury that he had, now he's having these eye injuries. He had that no activity for a whole year and a half. Now he's going to be off again for another 6 months with surgeries. Gane's training every single day, getting better and better and better. Knows now what Aspinall has for him and what he doesn't, what worked and what doesn't within that first 4 minutes of that fight. I think Gane's going to find a way to beat Tom Aspinall. And it's honestly like, does Tom Aspinall deserve a rematch straight away? I don't think they can do the trilogy. Not with the eye poke, then this. So you know who's going to get that title shot? It's going to be the guy that got robbed by Cyril Gane. It's going to be the guy that just beat Jolton Almeida. It's going to be the guy that beat everyone else. It's going to be Volkov. And I think Volkov beat Cyril Gane. I think he did beat him in that last fight. So I think Volkov's leveled up. So it's a bit of a crazy one for me because I'm relying on Gunn to get past Aspinall when maybe Aspinall comes back and he starches him, or he has a wrestle heavy game plan, which he should have had in the first. So we'll see what happens, but I think Gunn beats Aspinall, and I think Volkov ends up with the championship at the end of 2026, which is crazy, but I just had to. Maybe I'm in fantasy world, but that's my prediction.
I actually have a crazy play on this too, which is weird. I didn't think you were going to go down the same sort of rabbit holes I was, but I think Aspinall's not coming back this year. I think the interim is going to be between Volkov and Cyril Gahn, and I have a weird feeling that Volkov's going to win it. And the quiet contender match that people haven't really been talking about between Derek Lewis and Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to end up with Waldo Cortez Acosta winning Salsa Boy. I think Salsa Boy is going to beat Volkov and be the champion by the end of the year.
No. I don't like Waldo Cortez Acosta. You're really going for Waldo?
I'm going with Waldo.
I mean, he does just seem to find a way to get it done, doesn't he?
He does. He's annoyingly good at getting it done.
He is. All odds against him. He's very, very, very active. So I think if they are looking for people to quick turnarounds, quick fights, he always says yes. There is a world where I think he beats Derek Lewis. I think you're right on that. And maybe he will get a title shot off of that. I mean, who did he beat Tom's training partner. He beat Sergey. No, he lost to Sergey Pavlovich. That's kind of the one dint in his career. That's his only loss in the UFC, I believe. He's beaten everybody else in pretty good fashion. He beat the other fucking Spivak. He beat Spivak. He beats Derek Lewis. I mean, yeah, there's an opportunity that he does get a title shot off of that, especially with heavyweight being so lackluster. Jesus Christ. I went down a rabbit hole, and then you come out of the Waldo Cortez Acosta rabbit hole. That's a fucking... That's a mine you went down. That's more than a hole. Good God. Jesus. That's scary to think that we could be...
Yeah, it's weird that we haven't seen Sergey even being announced for another fight.
Pavlovich.
Yeah.
100%.
Since his last... He beat Costa with a decision, I want to say, I'm looking at here, August it happened. But because he's been not as active now, like, who are they going to make him fight? He lost against Volkov. He beat Rosenstruck, whatever that. I remember him. He lost against Tom Aspinall before Volkov. He beat Curtis Blades and Taito Ivasa. He's beaten Derek Lewis. So, you know, they could do
Jonathan Almeida.
Yeah, Jonathan Almeida. I could see that being a thing.
There is a crazy one I'm going to throw at you here. Could we see a Bam Bam Taito Ivasa revival in 2026? Could we see him get rid of the belly, get rid of the shoes?
He has a six-pack now. I saw him with a six-pack. And it wasn't alcohol. It wasn't alcohol. No, it wasn't. Wow. It was, yeah. I don't know who's been fucking training him, cardio-wise, but he looks like he might be light heavyweight now if he's fucking got a six-pack.
Who's he fighting at 325?
He is fighting...
Is it like Taliesin Teixeira or whatever? The guy.
Yes. No, yeah, Taliesin Teixeira, yeah.
I don't think he wins that, man. I think Lewis was lucky to catch him. I like Ty, but you know, I was just joking with that. But that's why this is fun, you know. And it would have been awesome to have even another person doing this because, well, you know, if you do watch this, leave your picks in the comments because you're kind of at a point where anything could happen. You know, like, so anyone could be the champion. Volk could be the heavyweight champion by the end of the year on a short notice fight. We just don't know.
He would show up. He'd show up.
He would, yeah. I come from a land down under. Fucking double eye pokes Espinal too. Okay, so real quickly, let's just run through these, and then we'll go have a look at the 324 main event. So I had Tatsuro Taira, Petr Yan. For featherweight, I had Movsar. For lightweight, I had Armin. Welterweight, I have Islam. Middleweight, I have Hamzat. Light heavyweight, I have Carlos Alberg. Heavyweight, I have Volkov. Who have you got?
For flyweight, I have Pantoja. For bantamweight, I have Merab. Oh, not Merab, Petr Yan, sorry. For featherweight, I had Lerone Murphy. For lightweight, I had Ilya Taporia. For welterweight, I had Ian Gary. For middleweight, I had Dreykus. lightweight, if light heavyweight, sorry, if Alex is staying and not going up for the interim, which we didn't even mention in heavyweight, to be fair, I'm going to keep Alex. But if he does go up, I'm going to say Yuri. And for heavyweight, I have a real crazy pick in Salsa Boy Acosta.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go over to Tapology. Let's just get some quick thoughts on the main event. We won't even... Sean O'Malley is fighting Song Yudong on this card. The Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis is on this card. Arnold Allen, Gene Silva. This is going to be a fun one to break down. We will do that... We'll do that next week when everyone's back. But who have you got for this fight?
For the main card starting?
The interim, yeah.
I just want to do that, just the championship.
Just the Justin Gaethje fight, yep.
I think Gaethje's going to win. And it's literally... I know, can't knock a Scouser out. I've literally seen him get knocked out on his regional. I know it's different. It's all different. I just think Justin Gaethje might have that last fucking... running him. I'm just hoping it is. I don't know. I like Paddy, don't get me wrong. I think he's entertaining. He's a good star and he's very marketable, but I just think... I know Iron Mike, like, I actually picked Mike Chandler to beat him, I'll admit when I was wrong. But I also, I think Gaethje is where Mike Chandler was maybe like 6-7 years ago. Sorry. But I think... I can see Gaethje doing it. I can see him getting it done. I can see him knocking him out.
In other news, did you see Michael Chandler has a white kid now?
Does he? Did he adopt white one?
I don't even know if he adopted or if he actually had one with his wife. But maybe I'm just being clickbait, but I swear I saw like him with a new white baby, which I'm like, did the memes get to this guy so much that he's either adopted a white kid?
Yeah. Well, Mike Chandler's trying to finish his infinity gauntlet of fucking children, eh?
Exactly. And if he's finally had a kid with his wife, is he not sitting there thinking, why did we adopt two black ones when the whole time you wanted to have a kid with me? Like, very bizarre. But I could be looking into a clickbait post on that. But I thought that was strange. But yeah, I'm going to take Paddy Pimblett. And it's because I've doubted him again with King Green. I doubted him with Michael Chandler. I just think every performance he levels up. I think ultimately... I actually think it's going to come down to the kicks in this fight. Gaethje used to have phenomenal leg kicks, but I think Paddy's kicks are very underrated on the feet. I could see him kind of standing at range and kicking Justin Gaethje rather than, just looking to shoot in for takedowns straight away like everyone thinks he's going to do. I think his stand-ups improved a lot. I think Gaethje has started to slow down a little bit in his career. But the one thing I will say is looking at these wins, Jordan Leavitt, that's really not a big win. Jared Gordon, not a great win. Tony Ferguson, and you robbed that anyway. Ferguson, at the end of his career, you couldn't even finish him. Bobby Green, end of his career. Michael Chandler, end of his career. Granted, you did that Michael Chandler fight was perfect, a flawless performance. But look at Gaethje's last win 9 months ago, Fiziev. And honestly, if you're asking me who wins Fiziev or Paddy Pimblett, I would say Fiziev. So I understand where the Gaethje pick comes from, but I do just think Gaethje in these kind of title fights, he throws it all out the door and he goes back to his old self of trying to just kill you, and it costs him so many times. So I could see him hurting Paddy and looking for the ground and pound and getting caught in a triangle. I could see a situation like that. I could also see Paddy eating him up on the feet with kicks. I could see Paddy landing a head kick and KOing him. That's how crazy I'm thinking. I think Paddy beats him, and I think he finishes him. I don't think this becomes a 5-round war like they say. Oh, you're going to see blood on both of us. Both guys are saying it's going to be a war. I think Gaethje's a formidable opponent, but I think Paddy's going to finish him. I think Paddy's going to be our interim champion, which is a crazy thing to say because, obviously this guy's been a touted prospect, but he also, if you told me he was going to be champion when he had that robbery against Jared Gordon, I'd tell you you're going to be crazy. But if you told me Sean O'Malley was going to be champion when he had that robbery against Petr Yan, I'd also tell you we're going to be crazy. So I think Paddy Pimblett can do it. I think he probably will win. I just think someone's bigger going to come back and get him. I think Armin comes and gets him. I think Oliveira beats him. I think Max Holloway beats him. So I understand the Justin Gaethje pick. I really do. And there's a possibility he does just starch him. But I am going to take Paddy Pimblett.
Okay.
But just look at the level of opponents, man. Like Charles Oliveira in his prime. Fiziev in his prime. Dustin Poirier arguably in his prime. And he KOs him with a head kick. loses to Max Holloway in his prime in a 5-round war, beats Fiziev again, to prove that it wasn't a fluke. Like, Gaethje's record's obviously a lot better than Paddy's is, but I am going to back the youth here. So I guess should we look at 325 main event and then wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just try and find.
Is it even on? I'll be on technology now.
Let's see what people are saying. Wow, a lot of people taking Volkanovski. I like to see that. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick Volk to retain, to be honest. But Diego Lopez, surely he's worked on what he was. He just...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm taking Volk because I think even though Lopez looked out amazing against Gene Silva in a great one of the fights of the year, that first and cup second round, but Gene Silva was finding a way to cut angles and land big shots on him. And that's literally Volkanovski's bread and butter. So I think I am concerned Volkanovski in his hometown is going a little bit overconfident. He's talked about how he wants a finish. I'm worried he's going to hunt him down a little bit too much. In that last fight, he kind of spent the last 3 rounds after getting dropped kind of dancing and punishing him when Lopez pushed, but kind of disengaging a lot. I don't think we're going to see that same version of Volk. I think he's going to be heavy on the pressure. I think he's going to look to wrestle more. I think he got him in a dominant position in that first round and just rained down big ground and pound, and then the rest of the fight was on the feet. I don't think he has to worry too much about submissions. I know Diego Lopez is a killer with jiu-jitsu, but we saw how good Volk is against, Islam, never got subbed. We saw him against Brian Ortega in those rough positions, found a way to get out and rain down ground and pound. I think Volk's going to look to wrestle a little bit more here. I think the leg kicks are going to add up. I think he's going to cut the angles like he does. I think he's going to be all over him on the feet. We might see another scary moment. I wouldn't be surprised if Diego Lopez finds a way to KO Volk in his old age. But I think the fight's too soon. It was Volk's last fight. It was only 8 months ago. I don't know how much Lopez has improved since then. I think if you look at the Gene Silva fight, Gene Silva was still landing big shots on Lopez's chin. And he's got an amazing chin, but at some point he's going to have to go down. I could see Volk cracking him. I think it'll be Volk by decision, but I could see Volk putting on a real clinic here. I just think it's a big risk for Volk. And that's why I'm taking Movsar for my champion at the end of the year, because after this, he'll take another fight with Lerone, which is a big risk. He'll take another one with Evloev, which is a big risk. Volk loves these big risks, and they're not always going to pay off, but I think this one will.
Yeah. I'm also sort of shocked about this card that Benoit Saint Denis is versing Dan Hooker, while Mauricio Ruffy, who was just lost to Benoit Saint Denis not long ago, is getting Fiziev. Or Fiziev, what do you call him?
It's retarded, right? Why is Ruffy getting shot up the rankings for losing?
I'll tell you why. Star of David, that's fucking why. Little goy boy fucking... we're getting held back, little goyams.
He's only had 3 wins in the UFC. He beat Jamie Malarkey, which is a shit win. James Lontop by decision, terrible win. KO'd King Green at the end of his career. And then loses to Benoit Saint Denis. And arguably gets Fiziev, which, I love Dan Hooker, but there's almost more stock in beating Fiziev at this point.
Yeah. I think the Benoit Saint Denis Dan Hooker, the reason they're doing that is because it's a contender match for BMF.
I also think it's because it says Dan Hooker is the 12th lightweight here. If you remember, he said he never lost his ranking after losing to Arman. I think they know that if they have Dan Hooker at number 6, he's one of the guys that's very happy to fight these young up-and-comers. So they know, this is a chance for us to... Dan Hooker's versed everyone up the top. He's never going to be champion. Benoit Saint Denis beats him. Instantly, he's a top 5 guy now.
Yeah.
So I think they're using Dan Hooker to kind of pass that torch, which is a shame. But, Dan's getting the spotlight. Hometown, co-main event. I'm going to be back at Dan Hooker. Do we want to look at Tapology? 21% taking Dan Hooker, 79% taking Saint Denis, and 70% of that is taken in by submission, which is sad to see. But after the Arman fight, I understand why. Like, Saint Denis is a killer.
Yeah, 100%.
But damn, dude, we have some fights to look forward to. And then you guys can see the cool little background we got going. But I guess...
Only 33% of people are taking Ruffy.
How many?
33%.
33. Ooh, there might be something to that. Might be something Freemasonic there. But this
I
was another episode.
Lopez got the lightweight too, actually, someday.
Lopez, yeah, he probably will. Maybe if he loses to Volk, he'll think, fuck it, I'll go up there.
Yeah, because those weight cuts must be crazy. I know he's young, so it's all good for now, but they do catch up on him.
Maybe he gets KO'd because of the weight cut by Volk.
But to be, Gene Silver was like, I know we used to say about Tony Ferguson, they didn't really like, well, look, he can't ever be knocked out, and then it happens. Yep. And same with like a Max at featherweight. Oh, he'll never get knocked out. It happens. Cutting that weight does it to you eventually, eh? So he would be, I think, before he gets himself cracked at featherweight, it'd be so smart if he just came up to lightweight with the smaller guy's skill. They say that small man's skill, whatever, and eventually makes a run there. Maybe
there's no rush for him though. No. There's no rush for him. He's still got plenty of fights at featherweight.
Especially if he's getting offered title fights. Exactly. Is that worth coming up?
Yeah. But I mean, that's another episode down for us. 2-man got it done. Ran through the title fights. I will thumbnail all of this up. So if you guys don't want to really tune into the whole thing, you can switch to the certain divisions. But let us know who below. Like genuinely, I'm not just trying to farm interactions here. Like, did we? Let us know whether we were right or wrong on a lot of our things and who you guys have got. Because I think there'll be a lot of different answers out there. But that was 2026 champs. We'll be back next week, all three of us, to break down Gaethje versus Petty, the entire card. So we'll see everyone there. Final thoughts?
Yeah, and in the comments, if you will pick the person that gets the most right at the end of this year, we'll all send you $100 each, so $300 NZ. That's probably fuck all money to you, but just an enticement. See if you guys can beat us with our things.
That's fair to say. Whoever gets the most, we'll give. Yeah, if it's us, no one gets money, but if it's one of them, we will give you the money. But shout out to the people that have been tuning in, dropping the comments, regardless of what sort of weird, crazy shit you're dropping, Simon Feck.
I'm waiting for him to come in my door again,
Yeah, he's going to fly to New Zealand and steal my mustache that's apparently fake.
Yeah.
But no, good times. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for doing this. We'll see all of you guys next week. Peace out.
See ya.